Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session with Career Professional Development. We're so glad that you are here with us today to kick off Career Transition Week. My name is Hank, and I'm a part of the WGU's Career and Professional Development team. Career Transition Week is designed to support anyone thinking about making a pivot and exploring their new opportunities or redefining what success means to them. It's a time to hear real stories, gain practical strategies, and find encouragement as you navigate your own professional journey. Today's session, Leaving the Classroom, Not the Mission, will help you identify and communicate transferable skills, expanding your professional network beyond the classroom, and confidentially pursue career pathways that align with your value. Today, we are joined by Hayley Wood for an interactive Q&A session where she'll share some insights and strategies and encouragement for anyone trying to navigate their career transition. With that being said, I am going to kick off the session now with Hayley. And Hayley, I just want to start off and thank you for joining us today. It was great to connect with you before, but also hearing your story and your journey and an opportunity to provide some insight for others to get some benefits and share their thoughts about their journey and transitioning careers. So, Hayley, can you start by sharing your journey from years into the classroom to your current role here at WGU?
Yes, Hank, thanks for having me on, and I'm happy to see some familiar faces, some of my friends and colleagues in the room, and then I believe a bunch of our WGU students. So I hope the session is helpful today. Just a little bit about me and my background. I was a teacher in Chattanooga, Tennessee for 12 years, which feels like there's no way it was that long, but it was. And so I taught 6th through 12th grade, and I taught in several different roles. So I was at an international baccalaureate school. So we were aligned with some pretty rigorous curriculum that's a international requirement. So I taught subjects such as psychology, personal finance, STEM. I spent a lot of time in STEM and physical education, ACT prep, and wellness. Kind of just whatever my principal asked me to teach for that year. And then I transitioned into some leadership roles later on. I was a mentor teacher to our new teachers, as well as a bunch of student teachers that I had. And I was a department head and led a team. And then probably the craziest role that I had was being a technology coordinator. And that rolled out right before COVID. So we were starting our one-to-one Chromebook initiative. So luckily I got them in the hands of the kids before we went remote, but that was quite the time to be a technology coordinator. So lots of different roles within the district, but I really decided that I wanted to start looking at higher ed. I was not ever a burnt out teacher. I just kept feeling like such a sense of reward and that I felt like I needed to give back when I was working with those new teachers. And they were so nervous with their first year jitters. And I just kind of realized like, okay, I can really help them. So I kind of wanted to start working with community college students or the students like I'm working with now. So a little bit about my role now at Western Governors. I work in strategic partnerships. I'm a partner success manager, and I kind of travel around. I see some familiar faces on here from some of our districts. I believe Dr. Hamby from Polk County, to districts such as hers, Metro Nashville, school districts in all of the states around me, all the way to Texas, Fairfax, Virginia. So I get to work with growing their teacher pipelines. And so it's been wonderful to be able to have that opportunity to not only touch just one classroom or one school, but move around and help these teachers. And so I work with teachers that might be paraprofessionals or teachers assistants that are seeking initial licensure, and also teachers that already have their licensure and maybe they're wanting to get a master's to upskill, or those wishing to go into administration and educational leadership. So in a 15-year nutshell, Hank, there it is. There's my background.
Well, thank you for that. It's really impressive just to hear how you were able to kind of flex and transition into different roles within the district and moving into the role that you are in now and kind of assisting with helping upskill some teachers that are in those roles now. And so being able to teach in different roles and variety of subjects, how did the range shape your skills and your perspectives and working in the school district?
So it definitely taught me a lot about being adaptable and flexible, and the importance of, when your administration asks you to do something, being a team player and using your skill set that they see in you. I will say it definitely taught me a real bias to action and moving quickly. So it was one year school started on August 2nd and it was August 1st. And my principal said, "Hey, our psychology teacher resigned and I need you to teach this to a class of seniors tomorrow." So I learned then like the ability to pivot and to do some research real quick and pull an all-nighter to prepare for that first day with students. So definitely taught me that skill set of there's constantly changing environment and you have to be able to lean into that and do it as a team player with positivity. I would say the various subjects that I taught, it made me realize all of the different teaching strategies and ways that you have to connect with students differently. So when I'm in a STEM classroom and students have computers and they're working on design cycle briefs, that's a much different teaching strategy than if you're in a gym with 120 students in PE versus a direct instruction model in a psychology class. So lots of different moving pieces in those things. And then working with the teachers and external stakeholders, that made a big, that helped me realize how that piece of it was more the policy side that wasn't student facing. So taught me a lot of different things that I think translate more into the corporate world and higher education for sure. And just understanding how those different disciplines, how they intersect. So definitely some problem solving and communication and adaptability learned there.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, teaching those different roles and being flexible, what would you say was your favorite subject or favorite class that you had a chance to teach?
Well, of course, my answer is going to be physical education because there's nothing more fun than getting to play pickleball with a bunch of eighth graders. Um, but I also really liked the STEM classes. It was really neat getting to teach students the importance of the being adept in computer skills, building their own websites. So that was really cool. So definitely PE and STEM. They were both, teaching students about their holistic health and then things that I knew they were going to be able to use moving forward in STEM.
All right. Yeah. I agree with you. I used to love PE in school, so I think that
Yeah.
is probably shared with a lot of people. So now, kind of moving on and talking about some of those transferable skills that you mentioned. What are some of the most valuable skills for teachers that teachers may already have that transfer well into other roles that they're thinking about?
So Hank, there is a list of 100 things I could go through, but when 3 years ago, I didn't realize any of them. So when I realized I wanted to come into higher ed, I actually hired a career coach, and he just kind of walked through my resume with me. And some of the things I'll share now are things that I learned from him, and he was absolutely right. But teachers wear so many hats, and I think that some people, unless you've been a teacher, they only understand the surface level of it. And there's a lot of data analysis that goes on. There's project management that goes on. So to give some specific examples with project management, if you're planning lessons and you're building out your curriculum for the year and you're sharpening your toolkit over the summer, that is directly coincides with the project manager, event coordinators, operations specialists. So when you are doing those lessons, you have to look back and say, okay, do I have to reteach? Does that student need scaffolding in the lesson? How am I going to circle back? And all of that directly translates into taking a project all the way through the pipeline or through taking a sales model through the sales pipeline. And so that's definitely one. Um, if you're taking notes at any point, if you need this afterwards, I can send this out to any of you if you want to reach out with me. So I just want to highlight some of the key ones that I have found to be most true so far. The data analysis, that's huge. When you're tracking student progress, and here in Tennessee, it was the TCAP scores and your internal assessments, and then my international baccalaureate assessments. I had to interpret that data to make decisions moving forward. And so that directly, one of the things my career coach taught me was business analyst, marketing analyst, research associate, you name it. Anything with involving data, teachers, for sure, you are experts in that. And if you're not a teacher yet, know that you will be. Even after 1 year in the classroom, you'll spend so many PD days looking at data. Let's see, I think the other one that would be incredibly important that a lot of people don't realize what all teachers do would be the communication, because a lot of job interviews or job listings you're going to see, it's going to ask you about external stakeholder collaboration and working with community. And so as a teacher, you're going to be involved with not just your students communicating, but your vertical team. So what I'm teaching in 7th grade, I've got to meet with my 8th and 9th grade teachers to make sure that we are building on that appropriately and that we are making the curriculum harder each year and that it is aligned, right? And then you have your horizontal planning across your whole grade level, just 7th grade. How are we doing interdisciplinary lessons with ELA and combining it into STEM? And then you've got the social workers with students. Unfortunately, many times Department of Children's Services that you're having to collaborate with. You've got speech language pathologists that you're bringing in, the community. I don't know how many times the local newspaper or even the news wanted to come in when I was doing a mystery Skype with Alaska. And they came in and filmed the class. And so there's so many of those different moving pieces. As a soccer coach, I had to make decisions on which vendor I was going to sign an MOU with and sign contracts. Do we want Adidas or do we want Nike? This is a 5-year decision you've got to make. So you're constantly doing all these things that translate perfectly into corporate America, higher education, district administration. So I will definitely send notes to those of you interested because there's just so many things. But I think those are some of the biggest ones that you could realize that you are an expert in customer service pretty much and making sure you're communicating clearly. So.
Right. Well, and Hayley, you touched on a couple of things that really hit home, especially with speaking with a career coach. I know with WGU and our career and professional development office, we do offer career coaching. We also offer our advisors who helps with resume writing and reviews. So those are things that students can take advantage of. Another big thing that you hit was communication. Well, obviously, communication is really big when you're looking for a new role or you're trying to convey what you're looking for within your organization or within the school. So definitely being able to have those communication skills are real necessity in looking for a new career or transitioning into a new role. Moving a little bit forward, now working with your skills and moving in for new roles, how can teachers kind of translate their classroom experience and on their resume or into a language that really resonates with employers that are not in the K-12 setting?
Well, Hank, I'm sure that you have experience in doing this in your role in career and development. Career coaches, people that help with your resume, that's a big deal. But some of the big ones that Mr. Armstrong, my career coach, what he taught me, he's the deputy operations officer in Signal Centers in Tennessee, if anyone's familiar. It's a statewide program. So he's great. But so he taught me, like, on my resume where I've designed differentiated lesson plans, that translates into other careers. That's developing and implementing targeted training programs. If you've led a parent-teacher conference, that is facilitating stakeholder meetings and you're reviewing your student data and next steps, and that translates over into corporate, right? Simply like the smaller things, managing just that classroom behavior and discipline, that translates into, if you want to move into leadership, you've directed those team dynamics and you understand conflict resolution and how to mitigate risk in the classroom. And so if you are ever interested in this outside of education, there are so many of the things, when you sit down, you're going to be like, wow, I did that and I actually can do this. And you just haven't heard it because all you know is that classroom and those kids. And I think a lot of times teachers don't give themselves enough credit for all of these things that the corporate world's doing, but you're doing it with kids, and it's even harder a lot of times because you're managing them and their parents, right? I would say another one would be assessing the student progress. I'm always going to go back to the data with their tests and their quizzes and their state mandated ones. You can translate that into saying, I evaluated performance metrics to guide my improvement strategies or to refine strategies, however you wanted to put that. Any company you move into, we're in a world now that we're going to be looking at KPIs and metrics and data. So you can always lean into all of the things you did with grading and testing scores. And then another one, like a note I jotted down, creating engaging learning activities. That can translate into, I developed interactive training modules. A lot of positions that I've seen teachers move into, they move into places like discovery education or roles like that, where they start creating their own learning modules, or even if they wanted to create learning content for a healthcare organization or for a corporate organization, just designing those online systems. And so many teachers, we've worked with LMS systems, we've worked with Canvas. And so you can translate this over into creating those types of learning programs. So, and really you can have Google help you with this too. You can have it help you say, this is my experience. How can I put this in words that translate outside of K-12?
Right, great. And I know you kind of started touching on a little bit in those different roles that teachers can kind of transition to or kind of look in if they are looking to pivot into a new career. Now, for current or prospective students, or even alumni students, what are some types of careers that align with WGU School of Education programs that may fit in what someone may be looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. So that has a lot to do with the work that I do now when I'm in the schools working with teachers. And one of the big ones is our educational technology and instruction degree. A lot of teachers are looking at moving into those instructional roles within the district, even at the district office level. A lot of teachers are wanting to move into the ed tech sector, working with the IT department. I see a lot of the students that share with me they want to do that. Another popular one is our educational leadership degree for people that are wanting to move into the assistant principal, the dean of students. Every district kind of has a different name for it, or a secondary supervisor, elementary supervisor, depending on the size of the district. You know, all the roles. In bigger districts, there's a lot more opportunities, but I know when I was in Metro Nashville the other day, they have 800 central office workers. So instructional support coach for these 5 schools, technology support coach for those 10 schools. And so the special education support coach and all of those aligned to our degrees. We have special education degrees that have masters. And in July, we just added, I believe it was 6 new endorsements, mostly in middle grades. So middle grade science, middle grades math. So if you look at our website, bachelor's, master's, and now our new endorsement offerings, an ESL endorsement that we did have before. So a lot of those can help you in any of the roles that you want to do in a school district that you're interested in. And those translate into national level too. So if you're wanting to work at a virtual school like Stride K-12, you would just take the degree that you would get at WGU. And if you were in the university, like if you were in Texas or Tennessee or whatever, we would work with you on the side of the things that I do and our licensure team to get reciprocity through Utah into your state with our degrees.
Right. And Hayley, I know with our conversations previously, you enjoyed teaching, and it's coming across with our conversation today. So I just wanted to touch base on seeing what are some roles that allow educators to continue to pour into teachers and education, even if they're not ready to lead, not ready leading a classroom full time.
So there are so many around that I did not know until I started going to a lot of conferences and networking on LinkedIn. That's a very important thing to do. But there are education foundations. I see Kate here from Nebraska, met her at a conference. Hey, Kate. She works with the schools she gets to go in the schools and to work with them and help with fundraising and supporting their teachers. That's a big thing that helps reduce teacher burnout, the perks that she can bring them. So education foundation directors, other opportunities within like the district, like I said earlier, the instructional coaches, curriculum coordinators, the tech coordinators like I had done. In higher ed, you can look at career advisors, student success coaches, program mentors like we have here at Western Governors, course instructors, traditional colleges usually just referred to as professors. And if you're still wanting to be in the classroom, in the building, I would suggest the instructional support roles because you're still in the school, you're working with the teachers, but you're also getting to do some pull out with some of those students that need some of that extra support as well. And they get to work with the new teachers that are needing extra help. I would say in the nonprofit sector is where there's the most opportunity that would put you in school sometimes, but that's not really where your office is going to be. A great example I can think of is Pivot, which is also in Nashville, and they work with professional development of their principals. And so they work across Tennessee and Georgia and several other states that they're working to expand into. And nonprofits like that are kind of educational consulting, offering professional development to the administrators, because we all know that at the school level, whoever that leader is in the school affects the culture at the school, which impacts the students. So I think those are roles too, that if you're wanting to stay in education, but you're kind of, not really wanting to leave the classroom, but you're not sure and you don't want to get all the way out of it, I would suggest looking into any of those that I mentioned, but definitely go to LinkedIn and just start looking at nonprofits in areas around you. And there are so many opportunities.
And you hit a great point in regards to addressing burnout. With many educators that are currently feeling stretched thin or burned out, what would you say to someone who still loves teaching but feels they may need a change?
So I would just say, first of all, you're not alone. This isn't really a new issue, but it has certainly gotten worse. We have seen the spikes after COVID. So many people during COVID went to remote learning, teachers that were concerned about their health, that felt nervous to come back, and they found new careers during that time. And so if you are just feeling like, if you're catching some of the post-COVID stress, I know that a lot of teachers I talk to, they're, instead of having 30 students, they're having 40, and it's out of compliance. And it's just a lot. And so that's why I try to put my efforts into helping address the teacher shortage. But I think sometimes taking a break when you need it and understanding your mental health has to come first if you're going to pour into your students. And you can always go back. I know one day when I retire, I'm going to be that old lady that is a permanent sub. I'm going to be there whenever they need me. You don't have to just forever leave it, but you can transition so that you learn things about education at a different level, maybe ones that aren't student facing. So maybe, you don't really need a career change, but maybe you just need a different seat at the table. You just need to see it from a different lens. Another thing that really could help too is just maybe you need to switch grade levels. Maybe you've taught third grade too long. I know I had taught seniors for too long. And when I stepped to sixth grade, loved it. They were still really happy and crazy and silly. So sometimes things like that can just rejuvenate how you feel. And another option, maybe you want to teach online. There are so many options for that now. There are so many students that have post-COVID, they want that. And I think another thing too is anyone that wants to maybe just try to take a break from the burnout, look into those non-student facing roles. If it's the students, but it depends on what was the burnout for you. Was it the students? Was it the students, or was it the teachers or the parents, or was it your leadership? So for each teacher, you're going to have to identify what was causing the stress on you and what that pressure was so that you can take a step back. And so once you're able to really think about that and reflect and identify it, then you'll know, is it just that I need to move grade levels or subject areas? Do I need to come get an extra endorsement? Or do I need to switch into higher ed? Or do I need to go into leadership or educational consulting, leading professional development, working in education foundations? And I think that you can still just expand your impact beyond the classroom and get just a refreshed sense. So that would be my best advice. But switching grade levels, I think, is a great place to start if you're not sure. And then you can kind of figure out like, okay, was it the students in the school, or do I just really need to step out of that role and work on the policy side for a while?
Good. All right. Just to kind of follow up with that, if someone here today is curious or want to explore just a new path, what is the first step they should take after this session if they're really serious about making that pivot and that transition?
Well, the first thing that I did, I'll just speak from my own experience, was reflecting on what energized me. And I knew that that was seeing those faces in the classroom that were happy. But then as I, got more seasoned in my career, I realized how much it meant a lot to me that I was able to help other teachers that had been in the shoes I was in as a first and second year teacher, and I didn't have great classroom management skills, and to be able to help them to set in those routines like the bell ringers and the exit tickets and how to differentiate their instruction. And so I would say, to directly answer you, is to find out what energizes you, what drives you, what is your mission. And I always go back to that. What is your mission, Phil? And for me, I know that it's making that impact for the students better, but you cannot do that if your teachers are not equipped with the skill set they need. And sometimes teachers are not prepared for maybe the school that they work at. Rural schools, they have very different things that need to be addressed than inner city schools. And maybe you started at a school and you weren't equipped with the skills that you needed. And so I would say first would just be to realize what energizes you, and then you can start thinking about what you want to do to move forward. Um, and I would say there are so many teachers that will let you come into their class and be a guest speaker. And I think just at the high school level, when I was teaching high school, I think one of the things when I taught personal finance, there was so many different people who come into career fields, and I would think, wow, that would be a cool job if I ever wasn't in education. Just networking, just talking to people that you're around, anyone that's in the school, your students' parents. Just, there's so many jobs out there that I think sometimes when you're a teacher, all we really think about is teachers, nurses, police officers. And we don't realize that there's this whole world of LinkedIn with jobs that we never knew existed. So, get out there, talk to people, just see what the other roles are. And I think that would be the first thing. Definitely the career coach. So like Hank said, if you're a WGU student or an alum, that's a free service to you as an alumni for, Hank, is it forever?
Yep, for the life. As long as you're a WGU alum, you have our services. So we have people that come back a couple years later looking for a different career change. We can help with that. So
So that's definitely my biggest suggestion too, is just having someone give you that one-on-one feedback. And anyone in this session that wants to reach out to me anytime just to chat, I'm happy to do that too. I'm definitely not a professional like Hank and his team, but I can at least share my lived experience. And I would say a lot of teachers are not on LinkedIn. I know I had an account, but it's not something that you use as a tool. At least I didn't, or teachers in my district. So I would say optimize that LinkedIn profile. There are a lot of tools on the career and development website that I saw at WGU when I was mentor and was helping my students. There are so many things on there to help you. There's LinkedIn Learning that also comes free to students here and alumni, that you can go in there, take courses that can help you think, okay, do I like this or not? There's career quizzes. I would definitely say that. Another big one, I was skeptical to this at first, and then it became one of the biggest networking tools I had, Chamber of Commerce events. And if you just go and have lunch at a Chamber of Commerce, everyone is there to build their network, and you just meet more people. And it takes an hour of your time. They're usually free. Sometimes they're $10. Just building out your network and learning what other careers there are out there. And so any type of education related meetups or summits, there's free summits all the time, daily summits you can go to that'll be somewhere in your local area. And there's speakers that'll come in from all over that'll speak. I know I found one in Nashville back in February, and there was the superintendent from Pittsburgh and all of these places, and just hearing their insights and the different regional issues that impact education. You learn of roles there and things that you can do. And then another one would be identify what the certifications are that you might need. So if you start thinking, okay, maybe I want to go into project management. I know that there are so many certificate options that we have here at WGU outside of the School of Education that are in the business field that you could look at. I know that Chattanooga State, we are partnered with them, Western Governors is, and I know that from an event I attended with them, they offer free, if you go to their website, and I'm sure a lot of community colleges do this, you can go to their website and just make a profile, and they give you like a code to the Google certifications just to build up your profile. And it also is just a hands-on learning skill for you to see, do I like working with AI? Do I like project management? So that I think those types of trainings can help. And then, yeah, just connecting with your mentors, your colleagues, and your professional networks. So, and just I think last thing I'll say about that is just remember that you're not on the journey alone, and all you need to do is reach out. And if you don't have those people in your network, start building it. It's never too late. It's never too late to just look forward and meet new people. So lifelong learning for sure.
Yes, and I thank you very much, Haley, for kind of mentioning those tidbits there. I know with a lot of the questions that we had, it kind of goes back to wanting to understand your journey and being able to transition into those roles. And a lot of things that you mentioned in regards to networking, I think it's a great opportunity to take advantage. So one of the things that I would suggest right now while we are gearing up for our Q&A session, if you would like to drop your LinkedIn profile into the chat, please feel free to do so. I think it gives everyone a great opportunity to kind of connect with those in the industry and kind of learn a little bit more about what is going on in that role, or just having someone to connect with in education. So with that being said, we are going to open the floor up for a Q&A session. So if you have a question, feel free to use the raising hand function. I will unmute you, allow you to unmute and call on you, and you'll be able to ask your question directly. I did see some questions in the chat, which I will start getting to here shortly. But if you would like that opportunity, feel free to use that function. Right. And here I do see we do have one question. I will call on Mandy to kick us off. Mandy, are you able to unmute? Right.
She said 1 moment in the chat.
Okay. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Sorry about that. Let's see. All right. So we have some good findings there. Also, what is a chamber? Thank you for answering that in the chat, Anna. So the Chamber of Commerce, there's each city or local town, they have chambers where local businesses and professionals get together, and they talk about things that are currently happening in the industry. And like Haley mentioned, it definitely gives a good opportunity for you to network and speak. Mandy, are you available?
Me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I had to troubleshoot my own computer today. I just wondered if you had any kind of advice for remote jobs. I'm kind of in a location. We're a city, but we're rural, so there's not a lot around us for like commuting purposes, and moving isn't an option for family. But remote jobs are really competitive right now. So just any advice on that?
Well, my 2 cents on that would be, for one, whenever you are applying for the jobs, I would say a pro tip, do not just use one resume. And I learned that from my career coach. So if I'm applying for a job at an online university, it's not necessary for me to add that I coached soccer and was coach of the year for 8 years. Like, so don't let your resume be, what he said was, don't be death by resume. My resume was like 6 pages long. He was like, this is not necessary to add every single thing you've ever done. So I would say with those remote roles, just make sure you're really looking at the job description and make sure that you are aligning and have the qualifications of what they need, even if it is a transfer skill. And many times when I've applied for jobs previously, I'll add a cover letter and will explain why I think that I would be a good fit and what skills I have that would transfer directly. And Hank, I think you could probably chime in on this and maybe how the screening works with talent acquisition teams with those applications as well.
Yeah, so and like I'm gonna plug in again for CPD and our website. It's a great opportunity for you if you are seeing yourself struggling with um, submitting resumes and not getting some feedback. Maybe it takes someone else to get a new set of eyes on your resume. Like Hayley said, not just one resume is a resume for all types of roles. So being able to have multiple resumes that speak to positions that you are applying for or you think that you're a good fit, having someone to bounce those ideas off or just get another set of eyes on your resume would work. We do often send out different opportunities, remote jobs that we post on our Handshake profile. So we do have a number of opportunities there to search for different collections of different positions and different roles that are partners are hiring for or just organizations that we are connected with that may have opportunities for you. So I definitely would advise for you just take the advantage of chatting with career professional development, our advisors, or reaching out to our employer engagement team to see if there's any opportunities that may align with what you're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. I have another question here in the chat, and this one is from Adam. Could you clarify how stakeholders trans translates from teaching to outside fields? I hear that often, but am unsure how it translates from the teaching field.
Sure. Yeah. So thanks for asking for clarification. I know I was throwing a lot at you guys. So just in education, when I'm referring to stakeholders, that's just the community partners, businesses that invest and would donate things to us, the school boards, a lot of time spent at the school board and central office, administrators, parents. So those are the stakeholders in education. And the way that I see that translating into other careers is that a stakeholder it's any person or group or entity that they have a vested interest in the outcome of a project or of a decision. So that would be your clients, your customers, your investors, your employees, your community members. So I hope that answers your question. Just when I'm saying stakeholder relationships, when you manage those as a teacher, that translates into managing the relationships and communication with those key decision makers in other corporations or other fields. So Adam, I hope that kind of answers what you were asking.
All right, thanks. And I see that we have a number of people in the chat that are really interested in what you have been sharing with us, Hayley. They
Okay.
are asking if we are able to get some notes for you.
Absolutely.
And with that, I will get with you after the session, Hayley, and then I'll include those notes along with the recording that will be sent out with to everyone. So everyone will be able to get those notes and be able to connect after. Great. All right, I've seen another hand go up. Emily, are you able to unmute yourself? All right, Emily.
Yep.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Sorry. It was saying it couldn't access my camera and microphone. So anyway, well, thank you, for your time today. And so I am, my trajectory has been the opposite. I actually started my career in higher ed. Then I left, got some technology and coding foundational knowledge, and I've been a project manager for tech now for, better part of a decade. And I'm actually now in the health information management program within WGU, but I'm also still looking within the university space and just education in general. And my question is, education, and certainly there are bad apples everywhere, but I had a hard time adjusting. There's a bit, I found there was like an inherent like respect, or just, you know, the way you speak to people in education has an inherent like respect to it and caring quality that doesn't always appear in the corporate world, and that just kind of seemed to be accepted. So, and you know, even though I've been out there for a while, I still struggle with it. So I guess I was just wondering if you could speak to any personal tips and tricks or anything you've learned along the way that can kind of help you just not excuse it, but kind of let it roll off your back a little bit so you can get on with what you need to do.
Emily, that is a wonderful question, and I don't have a perfect answer, but I will tell you my opinion on how to handle it. So I think when you are a teacher, an educator, a principal, or work in higher ed, I think that you just have you have a natural empathy. You're here for a reason. People aren't coming into being a teacher for the money. You're here because you care and because you want to inspire people, right? And so you're going to naturally, I think, be around people that just innately are that way. And when you move into a different field, I think the best thing that you can do is just remember to stay true to who you are. And if it becomes too much, and the tone and the rhetoric seems, you know, like it's not healthy, then maybe it's just the corporation that you would be at. I do believe that there are inherently good people in this world, but I think as educators, we're all kind of that way because we all want what's best for the kids. Even if there's some conflict in schools, you know, we all want what's best. So I don't know if that answers your question. And did you say it was healthcare? Your mic kind of cut out for a second, or mine
Oh,
did, one of
sorry.
the two.
Yes,
That was okay. Was it healthcare?
I'm in the health information management. I'm doing an accelerated program
Okay.
there, but I have, you know, an interest in research as well, so that might bring me back into, you know, the higher education space. But I don't know, I'm kind of an open book right now, so you know, I've already made the transition, but again, after all this time, it's just still something that gets to me, just like the way people are allowed to speak to each other in certain environments. And it's just starting my career in education, I never got used to that, and I don't want to get used to that. But anyway, I just thank you very much. No, that is helpful. And I certainly don't mean to scare anyone off, because as you said, there are good people everywhere and good corporations. But seeing as though you kind of, you know, started and then went out there and you seem happy, I just was wanting to see your thoughts.
Yeah. So definitely it's just hang in there. And I think that also the research role is something too that would be that if it becomes too much in the health information management field, that with research, that's more of a role that maybe would allow more autonomy. So maybe something to think about there too. But I think just always respecting your own values. And if someone's not treating you the right way, I would always just say, you know, maybe start looking into maybe just a new company, maybe not even a new field. But thank you for sharing that, because it is so true in education, higher ed, elementary, middle, high school, preschools. You know, we all just are here for a different cause, I think.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
All right. So I do have a few more questions in the chat. I know one is
Okay.
a little bit more particular, and as far as employers that does anyone know of any easy way to look up public service loan forgiveness employers? Do you know any organizations in Tennessee that may be a part of that, or just any local?
Yeah, so you can actually go to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness website. And when you are on their website, there's a thing at the bottom, and it'll just say type in the EIN number. And if you can't find the EIN number on a Google search, you can try just typing in the institution's name. So all schools are going to be that way. Places like Western Governor is going to be that way. Codepath.org is one of them. So but you can go onto their website for public service loan forgiveness, and it will tell you the companies that qualify, the nonprofit companies that qualify, that serve the public sector.
Thanks for that, Hayley. So another question from Josephine. How do you pitch yourself as a professional in corporate space who don't see the value teachers bring to the table? Lots of job interviews seem to write me off as a candidate once I tell them I was a teacher. I only seem to get positive interactions with those who have transitioned from teaching or have close loved ones who are in education. What do you have for that, Hayley?
Oh, wow. What a question. Yeah, it gets you a little bit frustrated sometimes because as I mentioned earlier, sometimes people only see the surface level of what teachers do. I think they think we just play or something all day. Um, but in all seriousness, I would say just don't lead with I was a teacher. Look at what the job description is and lead with your skills. Lead with the outcomes of things that you have done and the results of the things that you did. Show the stats of growth that you had. Depending on what the job is you're applying for, really dig into the things that you have done and show your outcomes. So you can even say, I have 12 years of experience managing projects, analyzing data, and leading diverse teams, and my background happens to be in education. So all of those things are true, but you're aligning it in a way that they can at least read it first, and then they can, I guess, hear that you're a teacher. And Hank, I would appreciate any insight you would have on it, but that would be my first one, is maybe just don't lead with that, because you're wanting to let the company that you're applying for know that you're there to meet their needs. And if it's a project manager, they might think, well, why is a teacher applying? So maybe just, let them see first the things that you've done that do fit. But Hank, I'd like to see what you think too.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was going to kind of highlight as well. Being able to highlight your transferable skills or any of those skills that you have in the classroom and kind of relate them to the position that you are applying for. So, to your point, Haley, mentioning project management, if you have any skills or any type of role situations when you were a teacher, you kind of acted in that area as a project manager, or kind of developing processes for your students, or for a leadership role that you may have had in the school. Those are the things that you may want to take advantage of, and making sure that you're highlighting those and kind of utilizing those quantitative numbers to kind of show the impact you may have had in that role. So I think just being able to look outside of your role, like Haley mentioned, as a teacher, and kind of looking at it as a role that you previously had, and if you were looking from the outside and teaching it with kids involved, what did you do in that role, and how did you impact? How was your role impacting you? All right. So have a few other questions here. A lot of thanks to you, Haley, and sharing your expertise. You all inspire me daily and keep me motivated to continue working on my educational degree. That is awesome. Angelica said that. Lillian, she wrote, "This is so true. We educators are empathize with by nature. So it's challenging to be with diverse personalities, especially when we're used to operate in a high mission driven environment. So WGU made it easy for me due to our amazing culture, So she's a former teacher, which is great to say about her education and being at WGU. Um, Now, kind of just we have a few more minutes, so if you do have any questions, or if you want to take yourself on mute, go ahead and do so before we wrap up. All right, thank you, Kate. It's always great advice. Changing the words changing words and language to more transferable language. Yeah, that's definitely a great opportunity if you're able to do so. And like I mentioned, take advantage of just having someone else look at your resume, even if they're from another industry. I know with us being in professionals, you may be more reliant on people in your current network or other professionals that you work with. But having someone else look at that resume or give you some advice from another point of view is always a great opportunity there. And Anna mentioned I use ChatGPT to help change our teacher jargon to more business and tech world kind of jargon. Yes, definitely. I know Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, AI is a great tool when you're looking to write your resume. But definitely take out some of the jargon that may be prompted into that resume, and submit it again, or like I said, have someone else read that, reread that resume. Definitely be beneficial for you. Right. Do we have any other questions? Mandy, is your hand still raised? Uh, all right. Nope. All right. Great. All right. I think that is all the questions we have there. So with that wrapping up today's session, I just wanted to thank you all so much for joining us today for this thoughtful presentation for Hayley. But also be on the watch for a follow-up email with that recording and notes and with our feedback survey. We will really appreciate you for taking the time and sharing the event and your thoughts on the session today. And of course, I just would like to thank Hayley for sharing her time and her experience and encouraging our WGU alum to be great and work and with their pivoting and transitioning into their other roles. And I will give another minute or two for Hayley just to say a few final words before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone that was here. And I know that if you are here, this is somewhat of it might be a stressful time if you're looking for a career transition, and it might be a time that you're not sure what you need to do, or it could be a financial strain. And I just believe that wherever you're at in the current moment, it's a time that you can build your resilience and your strength. And so the most important thing is you have to believe in your skills. And especially those of you that have been in the classroom, if you can navigate a classroom and all the moving pieces, then you can do anything. So just don't forget that. And so you guys feel free to connect me on LinkedIn or find my email, and I'll definitely send you guys the notes. And when I send the notes, I'll put my email and my LinkedIn on that too, in case you need it. But yeah, I appreciate everyone being here, and Hank for being an awesome moderator. So, and just thanks for everyone that came.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. We hope to see you at more of our Career Transition Week sessions. We have sessions throughout the week, so be on the lookout for that. If you do need a link for our sessions, I will include that in the follow-up email. And I would like to say take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.